Welcome to Court of the Boy King, a Vampire the Masquerade live play podcast set in the Dum Dums by Night universe. I am your host and fellow traveler into the world of undeath, Dr. Vladimir Acula. This series is produced by Logan Peters in partnership with Dum Dums and Dice. It features our resident storyteller, Tom McGee, and players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Laura Elizabeth, and Logan Peters himself. The coterie are about to wake up in a nightmare scenario, beginning their new adventure in the terrorizing chronicle known as the Court of the Boy King. All hail the Boy King, if you dare.
Prologue. Back then. Every kid has things they want for their birthday. And on Ryder Grayson's 16th birthday, he had a pretty specific want. And growing up the child of the famous Grayson family, Ryder usually got what he wanted. His father, Galen Grayson, entered his room on the eve of his 16th birthday to, try and make sure that Ryder actually got some sleep, or so it seemed. He enters the room and finds Ryder angrily turning off his TV, having just finished an amazing episode of My Name is Earl, but being slightly frustrated that this show about people working in an office was coming on. Ryder turns to him and just says, "Dad, this show blows. It's never going to take off," and then throws the remote at him. Galen, being used to such things, catches it without missing a beat, flicks off the TV and puts it down before sitting down on the couch next to his son. And Ryder, bearing the recent fangs that he had grown, turns to his father and just says, "So, Dad, it's my 16th birthday. That's a big fucking deal. Did you get me what I wanted or not?" Galen, a tall, vaguely Anthony Stewart head circa Giles looking motherfucker, just pushes the glasses up the bridge of his nose and says, "Well, yes, son, I did. There's only one problem. You see, you know how we've talked about permission, when you'll stay up watching TV too late, or, when you yell at the staff a little too much, or when you ask for things that just don't exist yet, that Daddy can't get for you yet. We talked about how sometimes it's best to ask permission first, and other times it's best to ask forgiveness. Well, you see, Daddy did something, and he thought he'd ask for forgiveness instead of permission. And he was told by some very important, very scary people like you, like me, that perhaps he should have asked permission instead. So, buddy," and he puts a hand on Ryder's shoulder and just looks him in the eye and says, "I know you hate this, but Daddy just needs you to be patient." And with that, Galen drove his stake deep into his son's heart. Now, Anthony Jackson, you served in armed conflict. You trained as a soldier, and you had the experience of watching people die, people you knew survive, commit acts of tremendous heroism, commit acts of tremendous horror. And there came a point in your life where you decided that you'd had enough of that. You'd seen what happened to soldiers who stayed too long, who could no longer re-enter the world, re-embrace the civilian world. And seeing that, you gave yourself an out. And you took it. Retirement, something that few soldiers ever lived to see. And since then, you've been trying to make an honest go of it. You've been trying to live by example of the people that you deem brave, having been forced into bravery several times yourself. And so the sound of metal cutting through flesh and screams isn't entirely unfamiliar to you. These dreams have happened before, and you're not surprised to be having one again, aside from the fact that you don't remember going to sleep, which is perhaps a little bit different. And then you feel something warm spray your face, and the smell of it repulses and entices you in equal measure. And you blink your eyes open, realizing that you are not, in fact, asleep, but rather suspended from your wrists by what looks like a meat hook. And in front of you, a person is being butchered as they scream, as a man in a doctor's lab coat with a bone saw just goes to work on them, wearing a seemingly just completely out of place playing card that seems to have been nailed into his chest. As he saws, you can see it's a jack of clubs just being sprayed with blood. And as you open your eyes, you realize that the person that he's cutting in half is rapidly losing consciousness as their lifeblood gushes from them. And you can see that a card nailed into them seems to have the shape of a diamond, just a 3 of diamonds slowly being soaked with blood. As you awake, you realize you have but moments before the mad doctor turns his eyes on you. Logan, please introduce your character and tell us what he looks like.
Right, so I will be playing Anthony Jackson. As said by Tom, he is an ex-soldier. He looks like if you were to take Sam Elliott's head and slap it on Tom Hardy's body, but give it a little bit more weathering. It's about where he falls. I imagine he has like the tattoo of like the Marines on his left arm, as most do. Probably has airborne tags on there. Anything that he would have earned in the service is what he's got now.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's it for the most part on his end.
Okay, fantastic. So you are how does Anthony dress just sort of in his day-to-day life now?
I'd imagine it's probably pretty rustic. So he probably has like really faded jeans that he wears a lot. Still probably wears combat boots, probably like a plain white shirt underneath, and then like a camo jacket, but with the sleeves rolled up to about halfway up his forearms.
Okay, cool.
And then the little cap.
Yeah, gotcha. So you're in familiar garb. It definitely looks like what you remember putting on this morning, even though it's worn a bit. As you kind of quickly glance around your body, you can see that it's rumpled in a way that I think would sit really ill with a military man, but almost like you've slept in it. But sure enough, as you look down, you see an ace of diamonds has been seemingly nailed into your chest as well. You're astounded by the lack of pain, but you're also not sure whether that's adrenaline. Having been in an active combat situation, you are fully aware of what adrenaline can do to the human body. But it doesn't feel the way that you have felt when you have been injured similarly. As you look up, you see the doctor just hacking away, and you think you can hear voices shouting in the distance. You realize you're in what looks to be it's like an odd, dark room. So like a small kind of boxed in room. It's very dark. You can see pretty well though, which is strange to you. It almost reminds you of how you'd feel wearing night vision goggles, but that would seem to be impossible. But everything that's going on is impossible. And honestly, I think your brain is likely just taking in details as, what do I need to know to survive? Great, now I'm going to go, rather than like, what's going on here? Right. The walls around you seem to be painted black. The floors are black. The ceiling is black. But there also seems to be some kind of odd, almost like a Pollock style painting that seems to be sort of on all sides of you, seemingly kind of glowing in the darkness, that you notice as it is sprayed by more blood. There are, as you look around, the doctor is hacking away at someone. There is a doorway out of here that seems to just lead out. There's an odd mist kind of rolling in. Again, you're inside, but there does seem to be some kind of mist. Of course, your first instinct is to make sure it's not smoke. It doesn't seem to be. It's an odd smell that you're unfamiliar with. But you notice that there is one other person chained up in here with you. And as you look around, your eyes kind of land on someone on the far wall who seems to be actively trying to undo her bindings. And from looking at her, you can see that her wrists, like yours, are bound in a zip tie. And the hardware that she's hanging from seems to be like the kind of hook you'd put on the back of a truck. So less a meat hook and more a towing line. Okay. As you're hanging from it, it felt very much like a meat hook situation. But as you see her, this clearly isn't a slaughterhouse. And it's completely incongruous to the room as well. Like bright silver, clearly just purchased, clearly not sort of this room. So as your eyes kind of find her, she notices that you've finally woken up. And Laura, who are you?
My name is Eleanor Bigby. I am a woman in her mid-30s. I am basically an Elizabeth Debicki type. So I'm a little over 6 feet tall and kind of waifish. Dressed in it's very I don't know. It's almost cliche. She's got black kind of tight fitted pants and a black kind of satiny shirt with a black fitted blazer over. She's kind of ready for anything.
Gotcha. Could go business, could go casual, could go for a run. You got all bases covered.
Exactly. They're sensible shoes though.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I assumed.
Black.
You were going with
the
very
Jurassic
shoes. Park. I'll just wear heels to run from the T-Rex situation.
Yeah, she's not. No. Right. She is actually ready for anything. I say that jokingly, but she is.
Are they sneakers for sneaking?
They are a sneaker type. Probably a little bit more flexible than your average sneaker.
Awesome. Love it. Great. So, Anthony, you lock eyes with Eleanor, who seems to be pretty focused on getting the zip tie undone. But as is often the way, can kind of feel your eyes on her. Eleanor, you see red eyes staring at you from through the mist. The doctor does not seem to have noticed yet, as he continues to hack the other person in half. That person seems to just be think almost a standard office drone, wearing khakis. They've got a button-up shirt on. There seems to be kind of a lanyard with a name tag just clipped at their belt. But their previously well-starched white shirt is rapidly turning red as their viscera soaks through it. Anthony, what do you say to get Eleanor's attention? Or do you gesture? You also don't need to say anything. It's up to you.
I was going to say, how much noise is the person being cut up making right now?
A lot. Okay. I was going to say that influences me a lot. An unreasonable amount, given that based on the fact that this guy is sawing across the body, this person should be fucking out. There's absolutely no reason this person should still be alive.
So it's like a law-abiding citizen, where he's got them all tied up and is just going through them.
Yeah, kind of. But also it's just strange to you because any sound body person you would know would be would have passed out from shock by now because this person is fucking soaking it's a Sam Raimi level of blood.
Okay.
I would say I'd just like to add then that Eleanor is very clearly gritting her teeth.
Okay. Cool. So Anthony, how would you get Eleanor's attention?
I think given that you said that anybody that he knows, especially seeing field medics and stuff like that would be out, this only elevates his stress levels and whatever's going on here is not stuff that I need to be going through. And seeing somebody else on the racks for him is okay, I potentially have an ally here. Let's see how I can go about this. So at first he probably just I think he'd rattle his the zip ties and like how his hands are and like try to rattle the chain a little bit to see if he could get her to look without needing to say anything.
Right.
But if that worked, obviously he would try to like whisper to her and draw her attention that way.
Cool. I will say you do notice that she also has a playing card. However, yeah, I think also just straight up nailed to the chest. I think that's just going to be the motif. It is the Jack of Diamonds. All right, so Laura, I'm going to have you roll to see if you pick up on Anthony's. I know we've mentioned you kind of looking down. I think the best way to think of this is that you've been kind of darting your eyes down, kind of both to the doctor and to the other guy who's chained up, just in the hopes of like, I need to keep my eyes on this situation. You know, it's the classic Saw problem where it's like, oh fuck, I got to get out of here, but also got to make sure, you know, what's what. So the way dice rolls work in this game is we're working from a D10 system. The way it works is when I ask for a skill check, I'll often just dictate to you which two skill pools I'd like to see you put together. If I, as the storyteller, am uncertain about anything, what I'll likely do is ask you, how do you think Eleanor would go about this? Because there's ways that like me as Tom McGee would do it. There's ways that you as Laura would do it. But I also don't want to prescribe, unless the situation is very clearly like, I want to kick down the door. It's like, okay, well, that's athletics. It's like, could I use drive? It's like, no, you can't fucking use drive. But in certain situations where it's like, I want to get through the door, it's like, okay, well, are you trying to break it down? Because that's athletics. Are you trying to pick the lock? Because that's, you know, I don't know, streetwise or subterfuge, that sort of thing. So when called upon to roll these sorts of dice, what you're going to do is put together a dice pool from your attributes. So that is your physical skills, your social skills, your mental skills, as well as your actual skills. So if it's athletics, for example, you'd be using strength, dexterity, or stamina, depending on the situation. If it's I want to run a marathon, give me that stamina. If it's like I want to break down the door, that'd be strength, so on and so forth. Please do feel to contest these as we go. The style of vampire we do on Dum Dums by Night is a little bit looser than I think is very much to the spirit of what 5th edition vampire is going for, but is a little bit looser just because it's easier for my brain. So if you're like, actually, I really think it would be this for me, totally fair. Please feel free to ask. If I need it to be something else, I'll just tell you. Now, there's one other catch to this. Which is hunger dice. So the way hunger dice work in this game is hunger dice represent the slow decline into succumbing to the hunger that lives within all kindred. And though neither of you knows it yet, you have both been embraced and are newly born kindred, so newly born vampires. So, Laura, I'm going to have you roll what's called a rouse check. Now, normally you would do this at the beginning of a night as you're waking up to kind of see how hungry you've become, how much the beast is like, you can imagine the beast. I always think of the beast in kind of like Babadook terms, where it's like, how loud is that thing banging on the door? Being like, go fucking eat something. I need you to eat something. And then, you know, you just treat it because mental illness is manageable if you do the work. Babadook. So let's go with straight rouse check is just a single D10.
Okay.
Just pass fail. If you fail, you become hungry. If you succeed, you're still good. You got enough carbs from.
Okay. So basically I want a 6 to a 10.
That's correct. Okay.
I got an 8.
Fantastic. You're not that hungry yet.
Yes.
You're good. You had a big lunch. So, Laura, in terms of noticing Anthony rattling the chains, let's go with, please, I'm going to want awareness.
Yes.
And I think wits, but I would also take resolve.
I would pitch resolve.
Right. That makes sense to me.
Just because I think she's the type that would, even though things are like quite hellish, I think she has kind of that fortitude to like, she's been through enough shit that she's like, even when things are kind of off the rails. She's like aware of her that there will be an opportunity,
For sure.
and so she would work through it.
And I think from the way you've described her, like in our session 0, which if you haven't listened to it, you can either go check it out now. It gives some background into the characters and how we built them, or wait to the end of this episode and then kind of go back and be like, oh, that's what they're talking about. But I'd also say that based on the way you've described her, I kind of imagine like in a 127-hour situation, she'd be the one who's like, fuck yeah, I'll just cut off my arm. It's fine. Like that there is that resolve to like, I will survive this. I don't know what this is, but like I'm getting out. So fuck you. So I buy that. That's great. Okay. So if you want to build your pool with those, please, you don't need to include any hunger dice because you're currently at 0 because of your dope roll and the situation we're in. And yeah, go ahead and roll, please.
So I'm rolling basically the number of dice corresponding to the number of like
yes, of those two little
levels
dots,
or whatever,
like
dots,
dot lines combined.
Okay. All right. So
representing, of course, your attributes, so just how good physically you are at certain things, and then also what you've trained for.
Okay, and then so I've got them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
6 or more is a success. That's the win.
That's the win con.
Okay, so how do I like count these? Or
so basically,
what do I do with these?
Yeah. So all I need you to do is tell me how many you got above, like 6 or above. I will have set, similar to Dungeons and Dragons or other such games, I will have set a difficulty check in my head that you won't be privy to. You go ahead and roll. You tell me how many successes you got, and if you can beat the difficulty rating I gave it, then you've succeeded in your task. If you haven't, I'll tell you, and you can burn willpower points to try and get a better result. We're going to limit the use of those, though, because in Blood and Syrup, we'd like never really use that. I think because I forgot to tell anyone they could, and we just haven't. And it means that everything is narratively a lot more high stakes because there's really no way to change it, which is honestly, I think, how Vampire really sings. So go ahead and tell me how many you got.
Even in the rules, willpower can't affect critical things or combat. So
yeah,
good.
I got 2.
We got 2. Okay, that is just enough. So you match.
A lot of 2s were rolled. Ugh.
That's fair. That's fair. And the nice thing is this isn't quite life or death yet, so that's dope. So you notice Anthony rattling his chains. I think for you, it's just it's a sound that's drastically different. So immediately you see a burst of bright purple and blue, so brilliant it almost hurts your eyes. And as you're wriggling away at your bonds, you can't help but follow the color to the rattling chain, and from the rattling chain down to the man hanging from it, who, as we've described, is a Sam Elliott type. With a sweet Bane body. We're going to say that the doctor is distracted enough. He's hit collarbone, which is like taking some real sawing. So he's working on that right now, just to kind of try and get down to that rib cage where he's aiming. So you have a brief moment to kind of try and whisper converse. Logan, you said you wanted to try and communicate to Eleanor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to get you, sir, to roll me let's go with stealth and composure, please, to represent trying to convey detail clearly, but also quietly. And I think composure makes sense for me, for Anthony, based on how you've described him, as just kind of like, I don't think he'd be trying to be slick about it, just very like
100%.
This is what it is.
We have 4 successes.
Amazing. Okay. I mean, you're going to be able to say what you want to say regardless. Doctor, you just hear him say, "Oh, collarbones, so easy to break and yet so hard to saw. This head start is barely worth it when you have to deal with... I'm coming! Give me a moment, please!" He yells over his shoulder out the door to the voices you can hear outside. And then just kind of cracking his neck back and forth. He's like, "You can do it." And then he just starts sawing again. And the guy just starts screaming just as loud as he can. Logan, what does Anthony say to Eleanor?
I think after the whole like neck crack thing, he's like thoroughly like, okay, like this is pinnacle. Like I gotta get out of here. So seeing that she's Eleanor is looking over, he like lower his head a little bit. Not that it would do much, and just be like, "You got any ideas? Because we really gotta get out of here."
And I think, I just say, like, I whisper, I'm like, yeah, the idea is to go back in time and not get into this fucking situation. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2, I don't know. I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
We cut to a room full of pillars. Hanging similarly from recently installed chains are 2 people wearing Subway sandwich outfits who are just kind of like their mouths are taped up and they're just kind of like wriggling desperately trying to kind of get out of their chains. And out of the darkness and then the mist, you can see there comes a figure just kind of dragging a 2x4 with a nail in it. And she looks like a kind of a slightly harried like working mom. So like in like an impeccable like gray pantsuit. Her hair is done like better than it has any right to in this kind of like gruesome situation. She her makeup is like smeared kind of roughly, almost looks like war paint. And as she walks up to these 2 Subway employees struggling to get free, she just kind of like throws her head back and just like breathes deep. Just says, you know, every time I walked by one of your sandwich joints, just always made me hungry, you know? Just smell the bread. And the bread never tasted the way it smelled, but did it smell good. And honey, I gotta tell you, you smell a lot better. And she just thwacks one of them in the chest, reaches up, cranks his head back, and starts plunges her teeth into his neck. From the shadows, Tyler, you observe this, and the thoughts you had of just helping out. You know, these guys seem to not want to be tied up. Quickly evaporate from your mind as this woman just goes to town drinking this helpless person. The other one starts kicking at her, trying to get her away, but she just holds up an immaculately manicured fingernail and kind of like a hang on, like you'll get your turn, pal. Tyler, who is lurking in the shadows?
Well, that'd be Enzo Roditore. He is a rather ghoulish looking fellow. He looks quite similar actually to the classic Hollywood film character Nosferatu. He is hairless and pale, save for his dark bushy eyebrows. He's got big eyes, no nose to speak of whatsoever, just 2 holes in the middle of his face, and his lip is drawn up, revealing a number of pointed teeth. He is wearing clothes that you could describe as procured. His pants look like garbage. He's wearing a winter coat just because it covers most of his body, his pale, sickly, gross body. And he has no shoes. He's just barefoot. And that is the third party looking on this this gruesome scene.
Great.
How tall is he, Tyler?
He's not impish in stature or anything like that. He's probably sitting at a comfortable, I don't know, 5'10". His average.
Okay. As you watch this gruesome tableau play out, your hands still keep kind of touching your lip and your teeth. and your nose. You haven't been able to stop touching your face since you woke up a few moments earlier. It's such a stark difference from what you're used to, and at the same time, it somehow feels right, even though it feels strange. So though you can't help kind of running your hands over it, you're not panicked. It's just it's like a light switch went off to some extent. That said, as grateful as you've always been for your aptitude with small tools, the fact that you were able to put some of your just kind of standard, we'll say like you have like a bracelet of sort of small clockwork tools that you just kind of keep for emergency tinkering situations, that you were able to use to kind of decouple the hook from the chain, and then thus kind of weasel your way out. So watching from the shadows, you observe one of these people get killed, and the choosing to remain silent and remain in the darkness, I assume.
Yes.
Your hands eventually slide kind of down your face to the card that's still nailed into your chest, the King of Diamonds. Hearing some sounds of screams and sawing, your eyes are drawn to a large room beyond these dark pillars. You seem to be in kind of an industrial building. The ceiling seems about 2.5 stories tall, and these pillars are just sort of square support beams that seem to reach up. Aside from the subway employees being feasted upon by the woman with the 2x4, as I described for the other characters, the walls are spackled somewhat, and there's an abundance of mirrors, which have been partially responsible for preventing too much action from you, as you've been kind of catching distorted glimpses of yourself and kind of contending with that. You're not sure what this space is or how you ended up here, but through the gaps between the pillars, you can see a crude, bright red diamond spray painted on a wall with a door cut out of it, beyond which you can hear the screams. So, leaving the subway employees to be eaten fresh, you begin slinking through the darkness in the hopes of discovering some allies against whatever the fuck this is. Meanwhile, in the room that you left initially, Tyler, there was another figure that you didn't notice. So distracted were you by the intricacies of your hook that you merely extracted yourself and made your way out. But there was a kindred who was slower to awake. Ryan, your ears are assaulted by the sort of thumping bass of a song you vaguely remember. The singer just keeps saying something in English about wanting to be someone's girlfriend. And seems to be like really confused as to whether or not this person, like really goading this person on, just constantly saying "don't ya" at them. And you vaguely remember it, but it's so long ago, like you're not sure why you're hearing this. But it's this song that slowly brings you back to consciousness, and that's kind of a pain in the ass. Ryan, who wakes up?
The gentleman who wakes is Gaston Marché. He looks like exactly what he is, which is probably a slightly too smug, slightly too successful intellectual type. Imagine Andy Daly at the age of like 24 or 23, but with the same haircut and glasses, only he's dressed like a tech guru kind of asshole, like, $10,000 suit. But instead of the shirt under the blazer, he's wearing like a t-shirt with, some sort of like Chinese slogan on it that he may or may not understand, but was definitely very expensive. And Converse with the Batman symbol all over them that are probably one of a printing of like 5 that are in silver or something. And he is not used to this environment at all. He looks as out of place as Andy Daly would in this environment.
Right. So you come awake to the throbbing bass of the Pussycat Dolls that seems to fill the small enclosure you're in. As described before, small room. Unlike the other ones, part of the reason that Enzo didn't see you is the center of this room is what seems to be a trapezoid of some sort made of mirrors. So think like a triangular prism, basically just like 3 mirrors, like, I don't know, glued together to make a triangle. So you're staring back at yourself, and you look a bit rough. You know what this suit is supposed to look like because you saw it in GQ. And that's how you've been trying to, uphold it. So it looks rumpled. It looks like garbage. You would never wear this given the opportunity. Also, your symbol of courage shirt, you assume, also slightly rumpled and a bit dirty. And given that it's a white shirt with like, a kanji character like printed on it, like when it gets dirty, it's trash to you. Like t-shirts are meant to be disposed of, not.
He was aiming for a Mark Ruffalo look, not a Kiefer Sutherland look, and he's really fallen into the second category.
Yeah. It just like we just got to keep you away from Christmas trees for the rest of the episode, or else just pow. Right. Okay. So yeah, you look a little disheveled. Like I imagine as someone who kind of takes care of their appearance, looking a little bit rough. But amidst the breaks in Don'tcha, where they stop to let you consider whether you wish your girlfriend was hot like her, you can hear screams, and you can hear sounds in the distance. You think you hear a gunshot echo out, and I think given kind of how much stimulus you're getting, you also can hear someone tapping a mic, which I think is something you recognize from like the plethora of events you've been to. Professors do this all the time. Academics do it all the time. Events do it all the time. So that like thump, thump, thump is so fucking familiar to you that when you hear it layered over top of Don'tcha, you realize that something's up. But regardless, you don't want to be hanging from this fucking hook anymore. Also, in the reflection, you realize that something off about the character on your shirt, and you realize some asshole had the nerve to nail a fucking Queen of Diamonds into you. And now that your symbol's all fucked up because there's blood and stuff. Also, like, why cards? What do you do?
Just be like, where the fuck am I doing this? And he just like try to shake himself off the fucking hookies on it. This is the awkward, like not fit guy trying to like swing it to like get some leverage to bounce himself off.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go with dexterity then, for real. And I'm going to say maybe streetwise.
Sure.
I think that makes sense. Or I'd give you survival.
That is 1 success.
Okay, so you start to like really like actively work to wriggle off, and like Gaston couldn't do this on his own normally. Like this isn't a skill, it's like when I attempt anything at a gym, I'm like, no, though. And yet you find it working for you better than you thought. It at the time likely seems like luck, but you managed to like sort of like wing yourself up and off. If you were thinking too closely about it, you would realize that this situation wasn't really meant to keep anyone suspended for very long, but you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about how you're free. So you hit the ground, and outside you see just the tail end of the 2x4 to the chest. And then you see a figure creeping towards a door. You can just see kind of the blinding whiteness of the back of his head that actually seems to be glowing. Like a sort of a weird purplish color as he moves through the darkness. And you notice that he's entering a room with a diamond spray painted on the wall, similar to the one on your chest.
And he'll look at the diamond on the wall, and he'll look down at his chest, and he caught the murder, which has like fucked him up a fair bit because this is not the world he lives in day to day. And he's like, "It is a better day to be a diamond than the sandwich artist." And then he'll just kind of follow the diamond path in the hopes that does not involve being murdered.
Great. As you step towards the diamond path, you trip on something that clatters, but luckily it clatters during Don't Ya? So like just blown out by bass. You look down and find a 4-foot-long medieval sword.
It's fucked. Okay. And he'll just like pick it up, and it looks as awkward as you would imagine, but he's going to take it with him anyways because he just saw somebody get murdered, so he's not really going to question, oh, there's a weapon. Like, he's seen horror movies. He's aware.
Gotcha. Meanwhile, back in the diamond room, the music shifts, barely heard over the screams echoing off the walls. You hear the growly tones of Chad Kruger asking you to look at this photograph and explaining how he feels about it, and the laughter and mirth he receives from observing the photograph. As the doctor seemingly starts to hit like that collarbone gave way, so like we're like into the chest cavity now, and the other person's still just screaming up a storm. Anthony, Eleanor has just unveiled her master plan for escaping to you. It involves dying, presumably. How do you react?
I think he'd look at her and like, because he's used to like people are in danger, tactical assessment, execute the plan. That's sort of like his like mentality. And then her like hitting him with the, I have no clue. How about we never get in this position to start with? He's like, you would. Listen, I appreciate your mirth, but we really got to get out of here. And I think realizing that she's probably like, he might have thought at the beginning, like, oh, maybe she's also like prepared for stuff like this. Realizing that she also doesn't have a way out. I think you said it was zip ties holding us up.
Yeah.
I think he'd try to like just flex and bust out of there.
Bust out. Great. Go ahead and roll me a strength, and I'd say athletics or brawl or survival.
Oh, we're taking brawl every single day of the week.
Tuesday, brawl day. Wednesday, brawl day. Thursday, rest. Friday, brawl day.
I've got 7 successes.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Oh man. Well, it's a shame they used 8M zip ties because you needed 8 to do it.
You flex so hard the doctor dies.
Dracula himself is walking by outside, and a zip tie just comes by and fucking pegs him straight through the brain, and he dies. All vampires turn to dust.
Jerk your arms down to like bust out. You just end up pulling the hook out of the ceiling.
I think for him, this would be like, okay, like I've done zip ties before. If I flex hard enough, I think I should be able to get out. But like him being like newly enhanced, he's probably like, and just rips it too hard. And it's like, oh, well, that was a lot easier than anticipated.
You briefly remember your drill sergeant who, at the time you were training, insisted that zip ties would never be a thing. It was a lot of like, if you want to restrain someone, you use a pair of goddamn handcuffs. And then, like someone from HQ would just come over and be like, listen, sorry, Sergeant Pendergast, you're going to need to train him on the zip ties. They're going to be a thing real soon. And he's like, God damn zip tie. Okay, well, put on the handcuffs and then put on the zip ties. Get out of both. This with Pendergast's grizzled visage in your face, from all those years gone by, you flex and the zip tie just cracks like it's fucking done. Anthony, you drop to the ground. Your hands are free. Eleanor is still working at getting free. The doctor is stops mid saw. And for a second, it looks like he's gonna just wheel on you with the saw, but then you just hear him say I haven't heard this song in ages. It is awful. I didn't think the sounds of your screams would be so comforting, but really, compared to the alternative. Also, please do me a favor and die. This is unpleasant for all of us, but maybe after this song, And then just back to sawing and back to screaming.
I'm getting real Rick Traeger vibes from this dude, big time.
I mean, do with that what you will. So Logan, you've gotten free. Your Anthony is he's on the ground. The doctor isn't paying any attention. Eleanor is still trying to get free. What do you do?
Keeping with the tactical assessment, there's strength in numbers. 2 of us versus 1 of him. In his eyes, better odds. So he'll wander over as silently as he can, with all how shell shocked he is about this scenario, and look up at her and be like, "So you still want to do fucking nothing, or maybe you want to give me a goddamn hand here?"
I didn't say I didn't want to do anything. God.
I think it's going to be a real Shrek and Fiona thing, where he's just all right, on the shoulder, here we go.
yeah. I'm imagining she's stepping on your shoulder to both of you are doing the motion of getting her down while bantering. Yeah, that's great. The Shrek Fiona metaphor works fucking delightfully for me.
I think it very much is while she's all I didn't want down. And she's all right, come on. Just step on the face, oh my God, it's my eye.
Yeah, the doctor is just I can't believe he married Avril Lavigne. I mean, good for him, bad for her. Sawing away. So the 2 of you are now free. As Eleanor, you step down perfectly silently because your shoes truly are prepared for anything.
Mm-hmm.
A purple glowing man steps into the doorway, and as soon as he steps through, the glow disappears, and instead he just looks like this weird Voldemort Dobby motherfucker. But you notice immediately the card nailed to his chest and the fact that he has a finger up in a shh. Tyler, you enter, I assume, knowing what you look like. You're taking that into account when you meet people for the foreseeable future. Would that be fair? Or even just, is this a stealth thing, or is this a...
I think his desire to be pleasant kind of shines through. I think a finger to the lips for quiet, but then also just a quick little enthusiastic wave of hi, just just I'm friendly kind of.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So Eleanor, you get that. You see the card on his chest. You're quick on the uptake. You kind of get what's going on. How do you react to seeing Enzo Roditori for the first time?
I think I'm just in a fair amount of shock right now. So I mean, there's so much assaulting my senses at this point that I don't know that I'd register that there was anything strange. I don't even know if I'm seeing people's faces right now.
Yeah,
you know I mean?
It's worth noting, dear viewer/listener, that Laura is playing a Malkavian whose view of the world has been colored by synesthesia kind of unleashed. As a result, yes, I think that kind of makes sense. The way you're perceiving him is so skewed by the amount of input you're getting.
Look, the sawing alone.
Yeah.
For
not
those
to mention
who may
the
not
music.
know, what is synesthesia?
So there are different kinds, but it's generally when you have one, the stimulus of one sense, which then triggers like basically a perception of another sense. So in this case, it's like when I hear something, I will see colors and shapes.
And does that like block out your vision, or is it just like flavoring? Is it like a filter over the world?
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, it's kind of like I can still see what's in front of me. But that's kind of what it was like before I was embraced.
Before you were embraced. So now it's
I
like
would say now it's
a party.
been it's a little bit more disruptive.
Gotcha.
Now I would say. Yeah.
Cool. No, I like that a lot. So yeah, I think it's safe to say you like wave him in after you kind of take him in. The three of you are facing the doctor. Screams have not abated. This person will not fucking die. What do you do?
If we're all together, Enzo will just say, just like in like a hushed voice, say, "Buongiorno, my name is Enzo. We are diamonds, yes? Yes, I look at your diamond, look at my diamond. Is this a man over here with the hacksaw a diamond?"
I'm guessing the person who is free and currently cutting someone to bits is probably, I don't know, a bad diamond. Either way, I think we should probably kill him right now.
Oh, okay. And Enzo will, looking around, is there anything strewn about this room that could be used as a weapon?
Go ahead and roll me an investigation and wits. While you do that, Logan, how is Anthony feeling about this? Let's immediately murder the murderer plan.
Well, considering that the two that suggested it so far, one he barely knows and is a bit of a loose cannon to start with, and the other one he's assuming is a party goer from the party that's out there. So he's like, oh, well, he's just dressed up, so whatever. Honestly, he was captured. It looked like he was about to be sawed up next. He's probably so gung-ho for this that he's looking at himself and then back at the hook, and it's like, I wonder if I could stick him on there, kind of thing. Like, if I could pick him up and put him on there, kind of.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an athletics, or strength and brawl, please.
Okay.
Tyler, what'd you get?
2 successes.
2 successes? All right, great.
Okay, so does it matter if they're 10s? Like, does that increase anything, or is it just another success?
It does.
Okay.
So you don't have any hunger, so it won't be a messy success, unfortunately, which is what we have come to call critical successes here in Dum Dums by Night. But if you get 2 10s, that will count as a critical, just a straight critical, not a messy one, but a straight critical, which means you will generate 2 additional successes on top of what you've already got.
Sheesh. All right, so this is my best stats. I promise I'm not making this up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes normally, but 4 of them are 10s.
All right, so Tyler, you find a rock, and like this is a particularly good rock in your history of putting things together and taking them apart. Like this is the kind of rock you'd be worried about dropping a watch on. This is a watch cracking rock. So by that logic, it might also be a head cracking rock. Now, sure, it is roughly the size of a strawberry, so it's not very large, but I mean, even the smallest things can truly make a difference. You pick up the rock and turn very proudly to show it to your companions, and you see the following action. Logan, describe how Sergeant Anthony Jackson impales the doctor on the hook.
Okay, so I think he watches the newest participant that he doesn't know his name of quite yet. Probably because he was too shocked as it was, scurry over and then pick up the rock, and he looks at that and he's probably like, yeah, he's got a bigger head than the rock. Looks over to the person that he rescued and was like, she isn't looking for anything, and then looks back at the hook and is like, it's go time. And does one of those combat rolls and as he's rolling with his like bottom heel, kicks out the doctor's back leg, and then from like his like slightly like lurch position, gets up in front of him and tackles him with everything he's got and tries to like slam him as hard as he can on this hook. This is like his like a do or die. Like if I feel like if for him it'd be like if I didn't get this right, then I'm gonna die.
Amazing. So you just fucking bull rush this guy through, and it's just that like fucking the hook comes out of his jaw. You can see the doctor's eyes kind of go wide as his arms are flailing, just soaked in gore. You can barely make out his playing card anymore. But just like soaked in gore, kind of like waving his arms around with the bone saw before gradually kind of like going limp, but still conscious and like struggling a little bit, like a fish who's been brought into a boat, just being like, maybe, oh, probably not. And you can see the long fangs on his jaw, and
small stone bounces off his head.
The stone hits him in the side of the head, and his eyes roll up into his skull, and he goes limp. At which point, behind you, you hear a commotion. Ryan, can you roll me a stealth and composure check, please? Dexterity. No, maybe composure. Let's go composure.
1 success.
Great. That works well for my intro. There's commotion behind you as a man in an impeccable suit comes roaring into the room, staggering backward, holding a sword out in front of him with 2 hands like a baseball bat. And chasing him is the woman with the 2x4, who actually stops at the door and kind of like looks to the right, looks inside, and goes, "Oh, diamonds. See you at the finish line, motherfuckers." And then she leaps into the air and disappears.
What the fuck?
Like from outside, not inside the room.
Oh, I was like,
no.
Okay.
Yeah, no. She leaps up and disappears.
I think Eleanor would still have a what's the.
This is understandable.
There's just a lot that just happened.
Gaston, with your sword up, you spin to take on the next possible combatants, and you see the weird Caillou-looking motherfucker that you followed, and 2 new companions. They all have diamond cards, though. What do you say to them?
All right, based on the conversation she just said and everything else, I think we're the Team Diamond. This is some sort of gladiator arena, and if we don't team up, we're all fucked. Hey, Muscle Daddy, do you know how to use a sword?
I think he's in like full combat stance, like, no.
Well, fuck, I guess this is mine then, so you lead the way. We all got to win, and I promise all 3 of you right now, if you get me out of here alive, I will protect you for the rest of your fucking days.
And with that, the loudspeaker crackles to life, and you hear a voice say, "Ha ha! Welcome, motherfuckers, to the best birthday ever. That's right. It's my super dope 16th birthday here at Laser Quest, and I gotta tell you, I'm super glad you could all be here. I'm really excited to meet some of you. Whoever wins, listen, I've been doing a lot of catching up on stuff lately, and I gotta tell you, I've seen some fucking great movies, and this Battle Royale thing and this Hunger Games thing with that chick with the knockers, great. They're great fucking movies. So that's what you're in right now. It's the fucking Hunger Games, bitches. Here's the deal. Whichever team wins gets to come serve as my right hand. If anyone else in your team dies, you're kind of fucked. So make sure everybody gets through, all right? But listen, whoever wins, you get to come work with me. It's going to be fucking dope. My name is Ryder. This is my birthday. Enjoy! And then Gold Digger by Kanye West comes on, just blaring. The laser lights in Laser Quest kick up. You realize that more dry ice is being pumped in to add the smoke, and And Anthony, just when you think things can't possibly get any worse, you see the distinctive red glow of a laser sight begin to trace across the entry of the door, at which point an assault weapon opens fire. Look, I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no bullets. Tear through the walls. Laser Quest was not meant to stop bullets. Over the sounds of Jamie Foxx and Kanye West comes the bark of an M16 as assault ammo is just fucking shredding through these thin walls. All of you have a moment to react. What do you do?
Gaston hits the floor, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been in this position before. Hit the deck.
I'm like, is there cover? Because I'm fucking dashing out of the way.
I mean, strictly speaking, yes, but based on the velocity of these rounds, no.
Enzo goes like fetal position, like curls just up into a little ball.
That's adorable and also highly appropriate, I think. Okay, great. So if you're hitting the deck, I'm going to need dexterity and. What else are we going to grab here?
Can I use performance public speaking?
Yes, you can talk to the bullets as they rip through your throat. That is 100% a thing I will allow. I think I'm going to say dexterity survival.
Okay. How does this work again?
Tom, would you accept it streetwise?
No, because this isn't predicting unless hence the reason I asked before I gave you what the stats were. Everyone said they're hitting the deck, so I'm just looking for stats that hit the deck.
Great. All right.
So Laura, the way it works is you make your dice pool out of combining your attribute. So in this case, dexterity. So however many little black
adding
dots you got there, with whatever you've got in survival. Actually, I would also take athletics. If you've got athletics, you can take that instead. Survival just being that instinct of like, oh God, hit the deck. Athletics being like, this is a burpee that I'm just not coming back up from.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, currently, I believe none of you have hunger because we established that was your opening state. So you're all fine on that front. There are no hunger dice yet. Roll to hit the deck, please.
I have 2 successes for Enzo.
Okay.
1 success for Jackson.
Sure.
Nothing for Gaston.
I've got 1 success.
1 success. All right. So Eleanor, and we're going with Sarge is just going to be our short form, I believe. Yep. Great.
Sure.
Okay. So Sarge, Enzo, and Eleanor, you hit the deck very successfully. The good news is that it is dark, and there is a lot of shit between you and wherever these bullets are coming from, but they are high velocity rounds, so they're ripping through stuff. Gaston, unfortunately, you are not as lucky, and you take a bullet to the shoulder, causing 2 points of superficial damage. You feel the bullet enter your body. It wrenches you backward as someone who is not used to rough and tumble encounters. Your first thought is for your suit, which of course is likely ruined. I mean, you could get it cleaned, but it's never really going to be the same. And do you really want to be that guy with a slight discoloration? And then the pain hits. But you're surprised to find that getting shot doesn't hurt nearly as much as you perhaps feared it would. Can you roll me let's go wits and awareness, please. Or medicine, if you feel so inclined. Or investigation. This one you get lots of options.
Okay, I'll go with investigation because he's a smart boy. That is 5 successes.
There you go. So obviously, you've been shot. That sucks. The bullet is in you, which sucks. But there's a lot less blood than you'd expect. And it hurts, but it hurts kind of the way that people who've been shot wearing flak jackets by low caliber rounds talk about it hurting, where it's like, oh yeah, it's like someone fucking hit you with a baseball, but you're still up. So I think in terms of kind of getting your bearings about your new state of being, this is perhaps the first major indicator you've had of
all he's known is he's woken up. This is fucked.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a mind fuck, just a bit of a fuck. But because you succeeded on your investigation and wits, I'm gonna say you clock it. You're a little bit in shock, but it doesn't you don't like collapse into a puddle thinking about it. Whereas if you'd failed, this would have been a real like, the book didn't get you, but oh God, what am I? What have I become? Cool. So after that, you're able to hit the ground, but just slightly less spryly than everyone else, which I think makes sense narratively as well. All of you are on the ground. There's another spray of fire, and then suddenly you hear shouting, and the sort of like loud echoing clap of a pistol being fired, and then you hear more firing from the assault weapon, but not toward you. It would seem that two of the groups are now engaged in combat away from here, and you have a brief moment to collect yourselves. The doctor continues to hang from the meat hook, just drift in there, just like full of bullets now, and just lightly oozing gore from the line that the fire carved across his guts.
Enzo remains in the fetal position.
Taber, knock this fucking shit. Someone fucked me. I'm some sort of weird creature now. What the fuck? Does someone have a gun? It feels weird that we don't have a gun when everyone else has fucking guns.
I think Sarge will point towards where the bullets came from. I think he has one, if you're feeling so inclined.
Okay. I already told you I don't even know how to use the sword, and I'm pretty sure this is just poke and stick. You're going to be the strong people, and I will reward you when you get me out of here alive. Okay, you're strong, so you can do the punching. You're scared, so you can stand between me and the threat. And you, what's your skill? And he points to Eleanor.
And I basically kind of like basically spider crawling like along the floor to the edge of the room. Because like, get the fuck out of the way.
Okay, you're arguably the most useful of any of us in this situation. Can you get up on the roof and swing down on people?
Well, how would that help?
Well, if someone came in here with a gun, then you could fall on them without them seeing you or shooting me. That feels like a net gain.
I would need rope. There's a whole... No.
I don't know. Have you seen this guy? And he just points over at Enzo. He's like, we all got weird shit going on. Look, I'm shot. Nothing's coming out of here. I wonder what happens if I squeeze. And he just goes, and flexes his body. Does anything happen? Does the bullet pop out?
The bullet, it doesn't pop out the way you were hoping. Like, I think you were imagining like a Wolverine, ping. Instead, it just kind of like out a little bit and then just like sucks back in.
That sound.
I don't know. I just told my body to make the sound and it did. But so yeah,
like how they do it on Underworld. Or when they get shot,
exactly.
Where it was like slowly push the bullets out.
Exactly, yeah. Except that he doesn't have the mental acuity to do the whole thing yet. So unlike like Michael Sheen of all people, rewatching that movie, I was like, I fucking forgot that he's the king of the werewolves. Good work, buddy. But like you got to push it out, and then you're kind of like and then it just sucks back in, and it's just one of those like weird like muscle things you're gonna have to work on. But all right, still, so point made.
It's not fucking cool, but it'll work later. So.
And I just say, you're ridiculous. And I go to the walls and I start feeling up to see if there's like another exit.
All right. I know some sort of things that I thought might be magic if you were a monster. So maybe those can help us, but nothing right now. I can just make people sort of hungry or spit poison at them if it works. Again, weird scenario. Hey, spooky scared man. What do you do?
Oh, me? Is he talking about me?
Yeah, you don't look so good.
Oh, I don't feel too good either.
All right, wait.
I'm scared.
This is an insensitive question, but what do you normally look like? Would you say wax melting candle or just sort of normal guy?
I'm just a regular guy.
Okay, well,
like
then
you.
This is going to be a harsh reveal for you, but this is reality. And he will just slide the sword over and say, look at your reflection.
When will this reflection show who you are inside?
He's like, he'll just like monstro and just like the sword will clatter away from him and he'll scurry like into a corner.
I think Sarge will do the same thing because the world looks a little too illuminated for him considering how dark it should be. Mm-hmm. So he's gonna look at it and see his eyes and then then like put it like his hands up and slowly like begin to crouch down and be like, what in the fuck is going on?
Tom, Gaston is a weird expert in the occult, supernatural, and other things. Based on what he's seen of Wax Candle Man, Spider Woman, everyone seems scared. He's kind of bulletproof. Is there a way he could try to put this together to figure out what's going on?
Can you roll me? I think probably we'll go intelligence or wits, maybe composure. You could take any of those three. And then I would take probably academics, occult, or investigation.
I'll go with occult because his specialization is gods, monsters, supernatural stuff in kind of mythology. And I'll go with intelligence because he a smart boy.
Let's go. Let's go. Get them victories.
A lot of dice, but 2 successes.
Okay. You have a moment of just like continuing to use Underworld as a model. Like anytime anyone remembers anything in Underworld, even if it was just a thing that happened earlier, like when she's trying to like convey all of her blood memories, and it's just like a weird like fast rewind. Hey, it's me, I'm Celine. Fast rewind. Like, hey, look, it's Bill Nighy. Fast rewind. Like, here's the scene we saw 5 minutes ago in the movie that we're watching right now. You have a bit of that. It will give you 1 point of hunger in order to succeed. But you put it together. You've read reports. Like there's obviously the big ticket vampire shit, right? You're aware of vampires in mass media. In the world of darkness, like vampire stuff is still very prevalent and popular. It's part of the way they're able to kind of move through the shadows as they do. It's not like in The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman's always like, no, there's no zombie movies in The Walking Dead. That's why they fucking suck at killing zombies for a while. Whereas the vampire mythology has slowly, through Masquerade breaches and everything else, just kind of seeped into mainstream. So I think you're able to put that together. Obviously, there's some sort of vampiric stuff going on, but I'll give you one step further. With the recent violence in Montreal and the raids on Montreal, word has been getting out, particularly through Reddit and 4chan, like all these sort of like back channels about Twitch of all things, about the idea that there might like the vampires are real. And I think there were like a variety of Masquerade breaches throughout the sort of siege of Montreal, which you can listen to over in Blood and Syrup, our sister show. But as a result, like nothing on that scale could possibly happen without a bunch of people getting footage. And while the Second Inquisition is busy covering up all that sort of shit, as with anything like this, Men in Black is kind of a great example of this. Like they can't fully contain it. So this is pretty recent in your memory. Like you've been thinking about this a lot lately. So I think for you, it just kind of clicks. You have this like fast cut of like, you know, what is this thing? And it's like a Nosferatu who was caught like blurrily on camera. There's like sketches. Like you've just, I think it's probably a conversation you and your soon to be VAs, your various like teaching assistants have been having, because it's fucked up. Like it's a cool thing. Like obviously, like, you know, the riot in Montreal is super bad news, but as an occult fan, it was pretty juicy. Like it was almost an Area 51
and he'd have been
situation.
studying like mythology and textual references and all that kind of stuff, building the vampire mythos over the centuries. Because interesting fact in both real life and obviously would carry over to this world, but like every human culture has a vampire myth, even if they've never had contact with another human culture. Like universally, there is a version of vampires everywhere, like that kind of thing. I think has. So okay, this is just like the big.
And honestly, taking it one step further as well, with the Genna War happening and all the sort of elder vampires leaving to go fight the theoretical apocalypse, like a bunch of sects like the Sabbat and honestly the Anarchs have just kind of been letting it all loose. So if that's the kind of thing you've been studying, like there's a lot of dots to connect recently. So yeah, cool. Go for it. Sorry.
All right. On the floor, he just doesn't have a sword. Everyone's just kind of having an awkward lay down conversation in different parts of the room. Time for an awkward but hard truth. Everyone in this room has been turned into a vampire, and you're going to say, but there are no vampires. And I'm going to say bullshit, and later I'll show you a PowerPoint with the hundreds of slides. Importantly, there's a guy cut across up there, and that looked like it took a while.
Yep.
We need. Oh my God, are you okay?
No.
I don't think we can help him, so let's kind of focus on ourselves.
It hurts though. Also, I think you're right about the vampires.
Yeah, that's do not fuck the PowerPoint. That's the thing. We're all vampires now. So congratulations, you're strong enough powers. I don't know what they are either. I have theories, but no proof. I guess we've all been vampire for about 10 minutes. And he looks to the others for like confirmation that no one's been a vampire for a really long time.
I just shrug and keep searching the wall for a door.
So far, Eleanor, you are finding all kinds of different forms of paint. There's glow-in-the-dark paint. There's neon paint. There's places where they obviously painted over an exit sign. It's very exciting. Your hands just literally are just glowing now. Maybe that's your power.
Oh, no.
Okay, so she might be nuts, but the other two, were you vampires for a long time?
No, never.
I was retired.
This is a dark day for us all then. So they said Hunger Games and race, which means whoever's driving this bus does not really understand either, because the Hunger Games is a tournament and a race is a race. It's both. I don't know. We can't lose or we fucking die. So I'm thinking you look like you do military, no?
And he like sort of like begins to stand proud of the shoulders. He's like, I did at one point.
Well, then congratulations. You're in charge of the team for let's get the fuck out of here and kill everyone or whatever. Hey, spooky guy, do you like steal shit or make shit or punch hard?
No. I do a little bit of crafting, a little, but too scared right now.
In your hands, Enzo, and you don't even really notice you've been doing this. There's a rat has just kind of like crawled into your hand. You've just been like, I think, stress petting this rat who's just chilling, just kind of giving you knowing looks.
I'll put him in my pocket.
Okay, then he does crafts and I read books. I don't think we should take point on this one, but we got sarcastic lady and military guy. What military? What is your name?
You can just call me Sarge. That works for now. If we get out of this, I'll tell you the full thing.
That sounds great. Sarge, what do we do?
I think the first whoever was shooting at us, because they seemed the closest, and, take them out.
What do we have to take them out with?
He's going to, like, that scene from, like, to be like, hands.
Raise his hands.
Yeah, hands.
Otherwise, we got this.
The platoon theme starts playing quietly underneath you as you do it.
Is the chainsaw that was hacking the guy up still running? Do we have that?
No, it's out of gas. Wouldn't you know it? So good for opening scenes, but not a great tool for you to have. Now, that said, even a non-working chainsaw is still a giant fucking heavy piece of metal with blades on it. So you can definitely take it if you want. Who knows? Maybe there's a gas can nearby.
All right, what's your name? I don't want to call you Spooky Man, but it's all I got till I get your name. What's your name, Spooky Man?
My name is Enzo.
Okay, Enzo.
Enzo Roditore.
That's a hell of a name. What I'm thinking is, if you take this, and he gives him the chainsaw, and he's like, if you can make that work, then you have a weapon, no?
This work just fine. It needs a fuel, needs a gasoline.
Okay, great. Then your mission is going to be to find the gasoline as we go, or I guess trade up to something better. Paint woman, what is your name?
Eleanor.
Okay, Eleanor, do you want the sword?
Sure.
Okay, then you can have this sword. I'm going to stay at the back and try not to get shot again. That sounds like a good mission for me, because ducking is too hard. So,
Scusi, signore, what is your name?
I'm Gaston Marché.
It is nice to meet you, Gaston. Nice to meet all of you.
It's a pleasure to meet everyone as well under these, shall we say, trying circumstances.
As for me, my name is Victor Hemingway. Can you
nice
get
to
me
meet you,
down?
Mr. Hemingway.
Can I like run up to him and try to lift him off the hook?
Yep. So you rush up. Laura, can you roll me an athletics and strength, please?
Sure.
Better than what I was going to do.
I think you say
2
that
successes.
to Gaston. He just gives you a nod.
Actually, 1 success and a critical, so that's 3 successes.
3 successes. Yeah, you absolutely lift him up and off. He's surprisingly light until you realize it's only half of him.
Oh.
The rest of him is still on the hook, connected by some stringy organs. But you're just kind of holding his legs away from.
So
the
I
rest of
basically
him.
just tore his legs off.
Yeah, kind of.
I just look at him and just say, raise my hands and say, I don't know what to do now.
That was the world's worst handshake.
So, Victor, do you want someone to wear you as a backpack, or are we just going to cut our losses here?
I don't think he has much more to lose.
What symbol does he have on him?
Yours.
He has a diamond symbol?
Yeah, everybody in the room was a diamond.
But Tyler, can you roll me I'll say wits or resolve and investigation, please.
Okay. Investigation. Oh, it's so low compared to my vampire detective.
Yeah. Welcome to the new world.
Resolve makes up for it. But how about these low rolls, though? Out of the 5 dice I rolled, 1 is a success.
That's all you needed. Upon closer inspection, you can see that the card has actually been altered. He's doctored it to look that. It's actually a 2 with 1 scratched out. So it seems that he's actually of a different suit, but was perhaps trying to hide, perhaps trying to throw his lot in with you. He says, "Oh, I would explain, but my legs. Get me some blood, please."
He's not a part of the diamond suit like us.
No, I am. That's why I'm in here.
So it's good to be a diamond? What does a diamond even mean?
I think it means we're all on the same team. Spooky Man and I both saw someone murdering 2 Subway sandwich employees around the corner that were not their card. So I think we're a team.
Okay.
So that
So
would
we have our
suggest,
weapons, right?
4 teams. Yes, I have him a chainsaw.
Okay, so do we go? Do we do this?
Well, I think if we leave Victor alive, then he might count for his team instead of ours. So someone should probably kill him.
Wait,
okay.
No, I'm
and
diamond.
I take my sword and just slash him.
Okay, so
probably the neck.
Okay, so you're gonna hack at his neck. Go ahead and roll me a melee and strength, please.
All right. That is 1 success.
You whack him in the neck and the blade sticks. He starts screaming, but it's like in his windpipe, so it's just like a lot of like open mouth, wide eyed, like hiss screaming.
No. Like this.
And I'll take the chainsaw up to the other side and just start manually sawing the chainsaw. Just
I show you. You look.
After a couple of moments, his eyes roll back up into his head, and what's left of him kind of falls limp. He's just taken too much damage. Too much, not superficial. The other one. Aggravated. That's the one. Too much aggravated damage, and he goes down.
And as if I've done him some kind of mercy, I'll like close his eyelids shut.
Requiescat in pace.
And I think behind this scene of 2 children murdering a corpse, Gaston's just going to turn to Sarge and be like, there was a reason I tried to put you in charge, because this happens when these 2 improvise. Now we know.
That had to be the worst piñata I've ever seen in my life.
I just turned back and was like, that's disgusting. This was I don't know what this was, okay? Let's go.
I never even thought we could have drank him and got stronger. Fuck.
What?
Well, we're vampires.
What?
He had the blood in him. We could have drank the blood and got stronger. Vampire rules.
Oh.
I don't want to drink him.
Wait.
Yeah, I gotta
and I'm just like,
one.
oh, fuck, are there rules? Like...
I mean, have you seen Interview with the Vampire or other various vampire mythology? They all got rules. It just depends on culture. I don't know which one's true, but the big
that
one
was
is
fiction.
Yeah, well, it was fiction right up until the dead guy kept talking. Now it's real. Congratulations.
Why are we still talking? Why are we not moving? Why are we not getting out of here yet?
You do a great job of not going anywhere and then asking why you're not going anywhere.
I yank my sword out of the guy and just like basically put it over my shoulder and start walking.
Right. So as the party coterie, if you will, makes their way out of the sort of shot up small room, you find yourselves in a laser tag arena, specifically a laser quest. But I'm sure if you've ever been to one of these or seen any TV show that's done a laser quest thing, you kind of know the vibe. There is sort of that, like, I don't know, lung safe fake dry ice shit just kind of pumping through. You've got laser lights just shooting kind of like dramatic lasers everywhere. Early 2000s hits just on nonstop loop. Like, it's a nonstop party in here. And as is always the way in a laser tag arena, you can hear the thump of heavy footsteps on those sort of wooden walkways above you. And looking around now, you can see the real verticality of this space. So in this kind of massive, best way to think of this is like a massive warehouse that has a bunch of small buildings built within it to create corridors, labyrinths, and a lot of sort of columns that reach to the ceiling. In the central space, there is what was known, at least around my parts, as the crow's nest. So a massive kind of like, if you think of any video game you've ever played, or like a prison or prison movie, for those kind of guard towers that are just kind of big, circular, I guess kind of like an octagon, with about chest high cover, a roof, and ramps leading up to it. Now, those ramps are only accessible from the second floor. Nearby, you can see that there are walls that might suggest ramps. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the maze, it's difficult to see. Plus, there's dry ice and lasers. In the crow's nest, you can see the occasional flash of gunfire. And I think, Sergeant Jackson, for you, it's pretty clear that if you were going to try and like hold a position in here, if you were going to defend, which is admittedly a risky proposition, but if you were going to defend, this would be the place to do it from. So clearly there are some people up there. As you look around, you can see that there are other symbols spray painted on various rooms. Closest to you, you can see a spade room, which looks to be about the same size as the one that Ryan, you woke up in. Inside, you can see just kind of through like the dark pulsing light. I think, Sarge, probably only you, because you've got the low light vision. You can see just a fucking like Dexter style splatter along the wall. It looks like someone didn't make it out of that room. But similarly, you can see chains. It seems that from just kind of a cursory look, and based on the situation Gaston woke up in, it would, and also that Enzo woke up in, it would seem that everyone started in the same way, but some of the rooms were better equipped than others. So basically, the options facing you are you can kind of disappear into the maze and try and bide your time. You can attempt to make it to the second floor, where you can storm the crow's nest, or you can investigate some of these side rooms and see if there are any weapons that may have been discarded. What would you like to do?
Is the crow's nest being like supported by any beams? Like,
not that you can. There are a couple, but you can also see like support structures. Like, it's built into that second floor, so it's not like you can kind of knock out the.
Okay, I was going to say, get fuel for this chainsaw, and our problem's over real quick.
You could definitely destabilize it, though. It wouldn't come down, but never feels great when any support beam is knocked out. So there's definitely some options there. You can also hear. The one other piece for this is you can hear some cries for help, because there do seem to be and rattling chains that don't seem to be in any of these rooms. They seem to be kind of out in the pillars and the cover. So Enzo, this would be similar, just at a glance, to the columns that you snuck through earlier. So just kind of the scattered cover. You can hear the rattling of chains and some voices.
So I'm thinking we might need to get some weapons to be able to help ourselves before we could think about helping anyone else.
I'm of a like-minded mindset.
Okay, and then we get the people in the chains because we will help them, they will be grateful, they will help us, and we'll get the fuck out of here.
Either that or they're lying to ambush us like the people who were cutting Victor in half. There's options. Enzo, you look like you got the nose for finding useful things. What if I'll try to figure out the maze? Maybe you can let me and the other two can watch our back?
Okay, I can do that.
Great. So going to the room to search for weapons, or trying to ascertain the maze.
Room for weapons.
Weapons, yeah.
Great. All right. So from the two of you, I will need one of your wits, resolve, or intelligence, and one of your investigation or awareness.
What are you thinking, Tom or Tyler? Do you want to be the intelligence or the awareness or investigation?
I was going to do a resolve investigation.
I think what Tom's saying is...
what I'm saying is we're going to split the role since it's the two of you doing it.
Sorry.
So you each get.
Do you want to be the attribute or the skill?
Oh, I'll be the attribute.
Okay, cool. I will use investigation then.
Okay. Also, I would appreciate narratively. You can roll the dice first, but I'd like to hear how you're doing this. What this process looks like with the two of you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a 10 on a hunger die of
You're
my
hungry?
3 die rolled.
He got hungry when he saw back through space and time and put it all together.
He will be probably focusing on the symbols on the walls, the symbols that they'd seen on the vampires who had run past and how heavily armed they were, because he'd basically go, if there's a favored faction, what do I think it is out of the 4? What rooms should we be focusing on?
Right.
And then within them kind of following escape room rules of where he thinks weapons would either be hidden or disguised.
Right. Okay.
Enzo's rolling resolve, which I think translates into basically trying to dominate that sense of fear that he had off the top and just really focus on the task, focus on survival. I got 1 success on that, so I don't know. If that actually happens.
I think what we'll say is, Gaston was letting you go first then because you were A, more determined, and B, a bullet shield, and he's behind you doing like quick math.
Cool.
But only at the speed you can. So you got a success and I got a 10 on a hunger die.
Cool. Ryan, did you get any other successes or just the 10 on the hunger die?
Just the 10 on the hunger die. So 2 successes total between us.
Yeah. Okay. So not a great investigation. You enter the room and it looks almost like something went feral in here. There's kind of like massive splatter patterns. I think Sarge, kind of as you like look up and over, like you've seen what like a landmine or a grenade can do to someone, and this looks similar, if somewhat more animalistic. Eleanor, where did you used to climb? Were you like an outdoorsy climber, or were you like an
urban climber?
Okay, great. So none of this means anything to you because you're not from the woods. But clearly, someone met a pretty gruesome fate in here. You can see there is a three separate chunks of body that are kind of left, but otherwise it's just a bit of a gore fest. There's also seemingly signs of a struggle. At a glance, you would assume that unlike the 4 of you who kind of figured out that you're supposed to be on the same team before the announcer stepped in, these guys probably didn't. So there was a bit of a misunderstanding. That said, your investigation does turn up a length of chain that has come free from the ceiling and it is loose. So basically, you've got now a length of chain with a hook on it that you can kind of use as a swing-in and throw-in weapon. It's not super effective. It's not like you can't be like fucking Scorpion with it. But for a guy of Sarge's size, anyone who's that strong hitting you with some chains is going to really fuck you up. So basically, on one end it's got the hook. On the other end, it's got a chunk of drywall that came off with it. So it's kind of got like a bludgeoning
like
end.
a mace almost.
Yeah. It's got like
concrete or drywall.
Concrete.
Okay.
There's like a little bit of drywall and then it's drilled up into concrete.
Okay.
Yeah, drywall would be like one hit. And you're like,
it's in my eyes.
I wasn't wearing a mask. Yeah. This is not deadly, but it is unpleasant, and I will be.
How old is this building? How old is this building?
Yeah. Call that number that's always on TV.
Don't worry,
wet.
everybody.
Why is it wet?
I'm sure the Laser Quest arena is perfectly up to code.
Absolutely.
The paint is coming off on people's hands.
Yeah, what
it's
could
up
go
to
wrong?
code.
Yeah. Amazing. So you find a sort of a chain weapon that I imagine we're going to hand to Sarge, just because.
Yeah, because Sarge, you don't have any weapons yet, right?
He's got these. He's got
That's
these two
right.
hands.
And I think it's like, hey, Sarge, what are your weapons? And when he raises his hands, Gaston just takes the chain in the other and just puts them in his hands. And he's
Yeah, it's like one of those rope marriage ceremonies, but with a chain. You're just kind of like, here you go.
He looks at it and is like, you know what? It's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think the odds of punching a vampire to death suddenly seem less high than
You're right.
everything else. All right, so armed with the chain, again, cursory look at this room. Laura, I think it's safe to say, given that Eleanor was interested in finding an escape last time, you'd be kind of doing the same here.
Yeah.
You know these kinds of buildings, like nothing. There's always ways out. So there's likely a staff exit somewhere nearby. You haven't located it as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
That said, given the self-proclaimed Hunger Games-esque nature of this, the odds of it just being an unattended door seem low.
Yeah. I'm imagining it's probably going to be hidden / guarded.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So having armed yourselves with what you can, you begin to kind of quietly edge back out into the arena, and Eleanor, you smell something so fucking tasty, and you just begin to salivate, and it's weird because you didn't realize that you were this hungry before, but like your body burns fuel. You pat yourself down for a Cliff Bar, but like you got nothing on you.
Yeah.
And as you begin to move forward, there's just like looks like a construction worker wearing one of those like orange vests. And she's just kind of like hanging from a chain, eyes wide, mouth taped shut. And beside her, there are two hands hanging from a chain and just a smear of blood down the wall. And Laura, you feel the beast awaken within you. You feel a distinct pain in your jaw as your fangs begin to throb. Fangs you didn't necessarily realize you even had till now.
And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm like, like feeling my teeth if I put my hands up to it. And just like, what the fuck is going on?
And I'm going to need you to roll me a hunger check, please. This is a single D10.
Okay. Single D10?
Yep.
Okay. It's a 2.
Ryan almost by instinct, you realize what can make this pain go away. And without necessarily even intending it, you leap forward and sink your teeth deep into the construction worker's neck. Eleanor, you have never experienced a joy like the feeling you get as you begin to drain the lifeblood out of this construction worker. It's I think for someone who seems to be relatively in control, this feeling of complete and kind of total of just letting go of a sort of unfettered animalistic instinct is in a lot of ways an extension of what you have felt at times while climbing, in terms of just instinctually knowing, or that feeling of your weight as you just trust to your grips and kind of like let yourself swing. Like it's all those things, but kind of like condensed into a super intense sort of like, I don't know. It went from being like a coffee you would sip to an espresso shot that you just mainlined. Like it's an exuberance you've rarely felt. But for your companions, it's something else entirely. Sarge, you look on as Eleanor, who to this point, like you helped. You got down off the chains as she kind of rapturously starts to drain the blood from this human who it seems like she's scared as the teeth go in, but then almost sort of settles into a vaguely like sort of half like sort of passing out, almost a pleasure state, like just clearly completely zoned out, like blitzed out of her mind on whatever is happening. And I think the realities of what Gaston has been telling you begin to really hit home, that You are vampires now, but as someone who spent so much of your life trying to protect people and having so often failed to do so, I think you kind of quietly promise yourself that this isn't the way you're going to do it, that there's got to be another way, just to kind of help us bring in that kind of because you took the vegan trait, I believe, which means that your preferred food is animals. So I think this is kind of what sparks that. It's just seeing that Eleanor clearly has no idea what she's doing, has no control over what she's doing, and the victim is clearly unaware that she is dying. Is like, I think, a real shocking moment for you.
Yeah, I think he's looking at the situation, and like at first he's really confused, and like, could we really be what this new stranger has said that we are? And like it makes some sense, but seeing this like go on and like the state of the victim and the state of Eleanor, I think in his head he's like, I after a while he's like, I can't, that can't be me. I even if I am a monster, I won't ever drop to that level. Like I will do everything in my power to not go back to killing people if I can help it.
Gotcha. Love that. Yeah. And Enzo, for you, like, how would you even be processing this? Because I feel like you're searching. You just came out of the search room, so like you helped a little bit, which is good. But you also took the vegan type, so feeder type. So is that a result of this, or do you think that's just kind of Enzo, who Enzo is?
I think Enzo just likes people. I think Enzo likes everyone. And I think that's what makes the leap from a person to food especially challenging for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the leap from animals to food, which comes naturally to a lot of humans, is kind of supplanted in that way. I think that joie de vivre translated, I think it was so hardwired into his brain that he just couldn't, even the beast kind of couldn't make him hunger for the blood of people. It makes him hunger for the blood of animals and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. So with that in mind, would you try and intercede here as someone who really genuinely likes people? You are watching a person get attacked.
Yeah. But Enzo is also a bit meek, so I think he would just say,
Eleanor, this is not part of the plan.
and he would like come over and like tapping her on the shoulder, like,
Eleanor, please.
Sarge, would you be getting in on this?
I think he's too caught up in like his own traumas with it.
Yeah.
Being like, I at one point I killed people. I retired. I did it to defend my country. I would never go out of my way to harm someone like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's still like mentally like looking like stern, like real hard at the ground, kind of like trying to sort his feelings.
I think Gaston would immediately go for his phone, which he probably doesn't have because he's there, and then he'd check his pocket for a physical notebook, which I'm betting he doesn't have, so he's frustrated just having to remember things.
Ryan, would Gaston have had a notebook?
I think he would always have something as a backup. If he couldn't get a picture, he'd want to sketch what he drew. Like, I think
they would definitely take your phone. I really don't think that for this particular crew that brought you here, that they would even notice that was a thing. It can't be used as a weapon. And I think they would just view it as quaint, not as a threat. So if you want a notebook, you can have it.
Convenient. Our captors are Philistines. And he'll just take out the book and just flip it open and start making notes. He's like, this is interesting. So the fangs or the saliva seems to produce a narcotic quality that will bring people to some sort of rapturous feeling. But at the same time, what happens when she comes up? Enzo, pull her off. I want to see what happens.
I'm a trying.
it's like weak, like shaking her arm and stuff.
All right. So, Eleanor, in order to try and pull yourself off, I'm going to need, please, a composure. And I think we're going to go with awareness. I would also take etiquette if you feel legitimately embarrassed that you're chowing down on a human in front of your new buds.
I don't think there's I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's probably not enough understanding of what's going on to really be embarrassed by anything yet.
Yep, fair enough.
So I think awareness is probably
cool,
the better one. All right, that is 2 criticals. plus 3 additional successes.
Well, you're lucky you don't have a hunger dice because you're amming some noms, because that almost got real bad for this construction worker. All right. So having succeeded, I will say you come to your senses enough that I will let you decide whether or not you want to disengage.
Yeah, 100% I'll disengage. I just kind of like basically like suddenly like let go and just kind of start backing away going, no.
The orange reflective vest is rapidly becoming a red reflective vest as blood from the wound kind of trickles down. Gaston, you can see that it's already starting to close up. But it doesn't stop the blood from amming some noms off the fountain there.
Does anyone have a problem if I try?
What?
I think after recovering, he'd put his hand on Gaston and be like, there's a time and place, and this ain't it.
Listen, I just asked. I wasn't trying to be pushy. This is a weird day. Wound is not fully closed. I am worried about this person's health.
I think I'm probably like still in a state of like I'm pretty good, but also like, what the fuck?
All right, so my guess
someone's
is
gonna have to stop me.
the saliva is the thing that's getting the wound to close up. If we don't want to cross-contaminate, Ellen, to spit on this person's neck, right on the wound.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But right now they're going to bleed to death unless someone spits on their neck, and I don't want to throw a bunch of our extra shit into them. So spit on their neck, or you're going to murder them.
Oh my god! And I just run over and just like do like a.
Oh yeah, that's the audio medium sound I'm in it for. So you hork on their neck, and sure enough, it begins to seal up. Like it's not instant, like fucking Wolverine.
Yeah.
But it's enough, Gaston, that I think you can ascertain that this is accurate.
Interesting. So everyone, just make a note when you're eating in future. Just make sure to suck and lick the wound at the end a little bit, and then it will heal up, and they won't die.
A voice comes on back on over the speaker system saying like, well, hello, remaining contestants. I understand that we've had some pretty grisly murder up to this point. So looks like some of you are providing a pretty great birthday for our king here. So he's having a great time. He just stopped to play some video games, but he'll be back in a sec. Just wanted to check in. Those of you who are still standing, A, congratulations. You're doing great. You should be real proud of yourselves. This is a lot, I know, but you're doing a great job. B, for those of you who have figured out kind of what you are, we have left some snacks out for you. Some of you may find that you have different predilections. We can't really account for that. We did let some rats into the arena. There were a bunch already here. So, I mean, you're half welcome, and then half of it's just old building, but they're there for you, so do with them what you please, but don't be a grosso. All right, so chow down if you need it, and good luck. Looks like someone found the party favors, so good luck dealing with them, because the kid left a lot of ammo up there. All right, we'll see you on the other side.
This is a fucking birthday party?
Apparently. So do we want to take the construction worker with us, or shall we leave this snack tied to the pole?
I think we should
Just leave them.
I think we should let them go. I think we should release them.
My only concern is if we do that, then they could run away and just get shot by the people with the fucking gun. So they might actually have better odds being here than if we let them run away. If we keep them with us, then we can look after them, is all I'm saying. You got strongman with hook.
Yeah.
You've got chainsaw.
There's no way we're leaving them hanging.
Why don't we put them back where we came from?
With the other... Don't know why that would be... That's just a different room.
I mean, do you see... beginning areas?
I don't would have shot us.
I will say the beginning rooms are enclosed somewhat, as opposed to out here, which is between beginning rooms and kind of out in the open. So if you did want to put them somewhere where they're less likely to catch a stray bullet or be, randomly nommed, their odds are better in those side rooms. That said, the people with guns can shoot through those rooms pretty easily.
This room is an active combat zone. It's not good to keep them here. We should let them run away or put them in one of the rooms that we know is safe.
All right, does anyone have a way to get this person free?
I could take a look.
Sarge raises his hands. The platoon theme swells.
Use your hands and use your skills, and I will hide.
Gets small into like a corner to wedge himself away from the group where no one can see him if we're going to stand around to save a stranger.
Sure. So, Tyler, what skill set do you think would apply for your tinkering? It would definitely be dexterity, but craft.
I would say dex and crafting for tinkering, but just for the sake of fairness, I think like picking a lock is larceny. Likely. I don't have anything in larceny.
There is a larceny skill in this game.
There is a larceny skill,
yeah,
Tom.
larceny skill is all of your lock picking business.
Well, kiss back grits. That is something I was unaware of for all of Blood and Syrup. Wow. I have
you
made
should know
up
for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have invested in larceny.
Say, Tom, none of us have points in larceny and Blood and Syrup, so it's a moot point.
Yeah. We're going to talk to Miles about this later. She's going to be like, what are you fucking talking about? Iris has 5 dots. She's great at picking locks. No one ever asked. She makes fake handbags. Okay, great. Yeah, I'd say, well, it depends though. If you are trying to pick a lock, I would give you craft because you're a tinkerer, so that would make sense to me as something you could use your little tools for. I think, well, yeah.
Now, Laura pointed out that she has some points in larceny.
This is true, right? But she's also panicking.
Okay.
So I think based on you kind of saying you're going to do it, I'll give you craft on this one because that makes sense to me. I think depending on the situation, it might not always work.
Okay.
But
yeah, I think I'm a little bit nervous about getting close to him again.
Yeah. That I buy that entirely. All right. So Tyler, if you can go ahead and roll that, please. And then Sarge, if you could please roll me a wits and awareness.
Oh yeah, and Tom, I've just a weird thing to flag, but Gaston has Auspex, so if any sneaky supernatural thing is trying to sneak up on us, he theoretically has a natural ability to spot it.
All right, good to know.
It lives with you, not with me. It's a wit plus Auspex on my behalf against whatever difference you set.
Cool.
Again.
Good to know.
2 crits and a regular.
Just one.
All right. Very good. So Enzo, you successfully picked the lock. You're just, Lex using that Unix system in Jurassic Park. Like, this is fine. So you pick the lock, the construction worker, she falls to the ground, and just kind of like gets up to scramble. And I think you just kind of like guide her, towards the side room. As you do, Sarge, you think, you can, like, you just think you catch kind of through the I was gonna say mist, but through the thick dry ice, you think you see kind of a couple shapes moving, and as you do so, you kind of like tap Gaston, who kind of looks up from his notebook. Gaston, using your Auspex ability, you can definitely see there are 3 people kind of like doing that like stealthy kind of crouch run towards you guys.
I think Gaston would just wave everybody back into cover. Tom, are these guys like packing heat? Like, what are we looking at in terms of, are any of them injured or creepy sneaky?
You're seeing them with Auspex, so I'm imagining they're like predator, like heat dots, not like full. I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting the skill, but to my mind, you're not seeing them as like, enhance. Yeah,
no, that makes perfect sense. No, because it's an ability to or obfuscation or other sneaky shit.
Yeah. So I'm basically, I'm kind of imagining it as like, you get like, and it's again the first time you've had it, so it's a bit of that like Peter Parker trying to contend with his Spidey sense thing, where it's just kind of like you're a little bit zony about it, but you can clearly see these shapes moving in enough to confirm to Sarge. That said, they haven't shot at you yet, and you can still hear the occasional shot fired from the crow's nest. So it would seem that they're likely not packing heat, but they are likely armed.
I think Gaston would be like, "There's 3 of them coming from that direction. If we sneak back, you can from the shadows."
Sarge, what do you do?
I think hearing like Gaston being like, "Hey, if you hide in the shadows, you can ambush them." I think to his tactical mind, he's like, "Oh, we have the drop on someone. Let's do it." Because like in his mind, it's like it's us versus all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a civilian with us. They're very injured. They're terrified. All of us are scared. This is the moment where he's like, the amount of problems need to go lower, not higher. So if I could take 3 of them out, in his mind, he's like, we can just get rid of those 3. We can make a step in the right direction. We're even a step closer to surviving or winning this. In his mind, it's definitely, we got to get rid of these 3 for sure.
Okay.
Oh. And I think if Sarge and Gaston, I feel like Gaston would just kind of shadow Sarge into this, into a shadow, because that's where the talk is. Like, I've got this thing. It might be gross, but it might work. I don't know. I read it in the book. It was hidden away. I'm just going to say some bullshit words. Don't listen for him. And then he's just like, you can't really hear because it's under his. It's just, it sounds like French sounds, but also words that may be Latin or maybe like it's a weird combo of different languages. And then he's like, what's up, Peter? Give me the hook. Give me the hook.
And then cautiously hand him the hook.
And basically, Gaston just spits way more spit than should be in a person's mouth. And it's pure black. And it just coats the hook. And he's like, I need to start carrying gum if we're going to do this more often. That will hurt whoever you hurt more now. I think it's poison.
Is this what you were talking about before with the you could do weird spit things?
I didn't know if it would work, but it does. And if that does to them what it did to my mouth, they're fucked.
I think in hearing that, he's going to start that like idle thing where he's like winding it up on one hand. He's like, all right, well, whoever comes across first, we're testing it.
All right. The other thing I should just let you know, apparently if you try to do vampire stuff, that construction person is going to look way more tasty. I'm getting hungry.
I'll keep that one in mind.
And with that, the first shape emerges from the mist. Enzo, you recognize the woman you watched with the 2x4 with nails in it. Nails so big they'll destroy themselves. Just come like rushing in, and she's just like doing a full-on like kind of carrying the bat at her side, just going in for that full kind of sidelong cricket swing where it's just like straight across the body, and coming in swinging with that. That said, Sarge, because you were kind of like prepared for this, I'm going to give you the first swing because she's caught unawares. So go ahead and roll me a melee and strength, please. Although I would also take brawl. Honestly, with this, you're just swinging chains around. It's not really a finesse situation. I mean, it's not. It's less a weapon and more just physics at this point, right?
All right. Here we go. 4 successes.
Awesome. All right.
Nice.
So I'm gonna roll dodge for her, but it's a disadvantage, so it's probably gonna be bad. Yes. Hello, one my old friend. It's good to see you again. How are you? Still useless? Yeah, she's like aiming, I think, for Gaston, who is still kind of slightly more visible, I think. And you just fucking catch her with the chain. What happens? What does the strike look like?
Ooh, this is gonna be a pull. Have you ever seen I think it's the Chronicles of Riddick? Yes. He's standing on the platform that's like rising up and he's swinging it, and as soon as the dude pops his head up, it's straight down onto it. So I think it's that way, but it's horizontal.
Sure. So just
So I think he's like winding it up, and the moment he sees like something looks vaguely like a face, it's just slide it, pull back, and just see like almost like a baseball bat with like the velocity it's going with.
Yeah. And you swing in the hook or the concrete?
I think because the hook was the one that was spat on, right? I think he'd use it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Great. So just as she runs in, like there's a big grin across her face. You can tell that she's having like a great time. And then you just fucking fish hook her, just like through the jaw. Her jaw kind of cracks to the side. And through the kind of hook and jaw, she's just like, fuck, that really hurts. Oh, I'm fucking part. Fuck you, buddy. Fuck you for fucking out this party. And then she goes to swing the bat.
Tom, before then, she is affected by poison. So we have to do a weird balance roll. So she needs to roll either stamina and occult or stamina and I think, is there like a fortitude or something?
Probably survival for just trying
just do stamina and occult then. I must have written it down wrong on mine. And then I roll strength and blood sorcery.
Blood sorcery.
Tremere, baby. Oh, tits. Oh.
Can you beat my 1, 4, and 3?
Well, Tom, I have 3 10s and 2 of them are on hunger dice. So we have our first nifty success.
Yay! Yay! It is real. It is real.
So, Tom, traditionally the difference margin either adds up to be aggravated damage versus mortals or superficial versus kindred. If we want to update to boost it to be aggravated, that might be it, or you can do whatever you want.
Well, listen, given that so obviously we're playing a little bit fast and loose on this encounter because there's so many more kindred than there would normally be, and I don't think in many situations in vampires that like fight to the death. Here's 10 vampires. You're all dead. So I think given that everyone's just coming into their powers, you are all considerably squishier than you would normally be. But that goes for your opponents too. So we know what Sarge did. He throws the hook through her jaw, takes her completely off balance. She turns to swear at him, and then Ryan described what the poison does to destroy her.
I think, yeah. So she turns around, she'll even get the lines out that she said before she goes to swing. But as she goes to swing, it's just her jaw starts to smoke. And then we just see the flesh peeling back, like when people get hit with the blood in Alien. And it's just like, it just actually melts through her face and the chain falls free and like the top of her head falls forward and off because it works back through her skull faster than through the top.
From as the top of her head hits the ground, she just kind of locks eyes with you. And in her final moments, just manages to fucking glower. Like, just glower as hard as she can. And it is admittedly unpleasant. It is, you feel a little embarrassed. She's just clearly, like, has always been that rich, cool kid who is just better than everyone. So as her body begins to just kind of, interestingly, because you're all brand new kindred, it doesn't, like, turn to mush or ash. It just, like, kind of looks like she looked an hour or two ago.
Yeah. Tom, what was she about to swing?
Body, 2x4 with nails in it.
Would it be possible for Gaston to essentially, as her head falls off, step forward and just take the 2x4 out of her hand before her body, we could say in a comedy sense, falls backwards? Yeah. And then I think instantly he turns around and just pulps her skull with it in a way that I think combined with his acid mouth poison might leave his companions very unsettled as to what this weird, tiny Andy Daly looking bastard's up to.
Yep, that's fair. Her head explodes like a slightly rotten pumpkin. 2 weeks after Halloween. But good news, Sarge, you got your chain back, so that's great.
I think he'd look at it after he sees like the dude who he knows is like the push glasses up, write notes, book smart guy, whack him and look down at me. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Amazing. You got two more vamps coming in. One of them just turns around and runs. Is not here for this shit. But another one steps forward, and this is just like classic like brick shithouse guy, just like fucking huge. he just kind of like, he's just one of those dudes that like he has no neck. His head is just kind of merged with his shoulders. And he just sort of steps forward, cracks at left, cracks at right. And he just looks at you and he's like, I think this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Sarge is 100% dropping the chain. This is like mono status. Like he's 100% about this.
Amazing. Well, let's throw some fisticuffs there, sir.
You got it.
All right. So I'm gonna roll mine. You roll yours. We'll see who wins.
Say Gaston thinks this combat is insane, so he's standing in shock. Enzo, Eleanor, do you guys have reactions? Just to know what it's looking like while this combat then happens.
Eleanor is like appalled that someone seemed to have been enjoying this experience, i.e., recently dead again lady. So I think I'm probably I think I'm in shock right now.
Fair enough.
Shock and disgust going on that I don't think I can get past at the moment. I've just kind of got a sword. Like I picked up my sword again, just kind of like,
it's your
maybe I'll
sword.
have to use this, but yeah.
Enzo's construction worker get to safety.
Okay.
So then Gaston gets to be confused, look over one shoulder and see panicking Eleanor with sword not doing anything. It's just being like, this whole party makes no sense to him. And then it just turns back to the actions, really the center of this moment.
Amazing.
I have a specialty in brawling against kindred.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm pretty sure that adds a dice, right? A D. Okay.
Yep.
Anybody is curious, I am rolling 9 dice.
Let's see.
God.
Tom has already rolled and started laughing, so I think your odds are good.
No, yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, mine are sheesh. 10s count as 2, right?
If you get 2 10s, they double to 4s, I believe how it goes. But they might count. No, sorry, yeah, you're right. Straight 10s count as 2.
Okay. Then let me double back here.
Good.
Yes. All right. We have 8. Let's go.
Okay,
God.
interesting. Does it beat my 3 though?
Potentially. I'll
Okay.
run the math back. Give me a second.
Yeah. If we could just like phone a friend, if we could send this off to MIT to double check, that'd be great. Yeah. So this guy rushes forward.
I think I actually have a pretty good idea of how this goes.
Give me.
If you may.
Oh yeah, I was literally gonna be like, he rushes forward and then toss to you. So
I think this
by
is
all
a
means,
lot
sir.
like I think this is a lot like Thanos in the Hulk, where like he lets him think that he has him and then just systematically tears him apart, like punch by punch, counter by counter, like just to see, because up till now he's like, hey, like Harry Potter, you're a vampire. Like he 100% does not believe any of this is going on. He's very grounded in that sense. He's like, no, I don't believe it. There's no way. Like, yeah, I can see in the dark. Cool. I was a soldier. I'm trained to see whatever. That's nothing crazy. Maybe I'm just sleep deprived. So I think this is his moment where he's like, he will willingly like get beat, like just to feel it and be like, these punches, this dude's about as big, if not bigger than me. And he should hurt a lot more than they do. And they just don't. So I think after a while, he's like, all right, enough testing. And then just like, he throws a right blocked throat punch. Like he throws a kick, breaks his knee back. Like it just everything that he can find just systematically like tears him down.
Oh yeah, you fully pulverize this guy.
Nice.
Also, you get the sense as you're fighting him that he very much. I mean, the Hulk Thanos thing is a pretty good. I think a pretty good parallel because this guy is clearly used to just being he's just like roided out and just fucking ready to hit things. And he's so big that he's long. Yeah, exactly. Like as long as he gets that first hit, he wins. But when that doesn't work, there's not really much technique there. There's just raw muscles. So it's just like breaking him down. Also, you're better at fighting kindred. So like you're also just aware that you have slightly more strength and slightly more endurance. He isn't necessarily. There's some confusion when he does get a punch in that like it doesn't do what it's supposed to. So yeah, eventually you just kind of like beat him down. Now, given that you're in a no murder zone, are you looking to defeat him or kill him?
I think he's just as shocked about this situation as he imagines everybody else would be.
Mhm.
So he's probably like, I just want to eliminate the threat of them like coming back after me. Like I feel like that would be more or less his
That
thing.
makes
Like
sense. Yeah.
I need to like I still have a bleeding person in my care. Like I don't have the time to afford to like, did I kill you? Are you actually dead? Or are you just doing that like scary movie thing where like you're about to die and then like pop back up kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So I think it's just disable him, like maybe break his leg so he can't move, and then
Sure.
be like, okay, cool. That'll eliminate his odds of like catching up to us or being a problem by a lot. So I think
For
we're
sure.
good with that.
And he definitely does do that. Like when you punch him down, there's like starts to crawl back up. You punch him down, starts to crawl back up. Break a leg, starts to crawl back up. Break the other leg, still starts to get back up, but like can't make like he can't catch you necessarily because also like a laser tag arena would be incredibly fucking rough to crawl around. So yeah, I think you just like you do that. Probably break his arms too, just to make sure he's really not going anywhere, and then just kind of walk back, dusting off your hands. Gaston, you just watched this whole thing happen. What's going through your head?
That was impressive. Like insane, but impressive. I like you, my friend. For the record, though, if you're really worried they're a threat, you should go with the acid poison chain instead of fisticuffs.
And I don't even think he'd argue. I think he'd be like, you got a good point.
Eleanor, you're in a state of shock, but you've just seen Sarge just fucking smack down Captain No Neck. The reality of the danger you're in, I think, is starting to set back in. What do you do?
I think I just say like, you're all way too fucking casual about this, and like I just like take my sword and like walk out of the door, like let's fucking go.
Great. So Enzo, after you get the construction worker to safety, you have a brief moment to calm their nerves. What do you say to them to calm them down before you rejoin the group?
Just it's gonna be okay. Just breathe with me. Look at me.
Like through the duct tape, she's like,
I want her to look at me and see if that does anything, though, too, because I am repulsive. Like
This suggests
on
that
paper,
Enzo
I'm
was
repulsive.
that
Yeah.
Enzo was very handsome before Enzo was turned. That like looking at Enzo would calm someone
or
down.
is just like has read the right books, knows what's up, but is not the right person for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like if you're one of those people with like the Fran Drescher voice, just being like, just take calming breaths, it's gonna be fine. You're like, it's you talking.
Panic-inducing voice.
Yeah, like your voice is the issue, not the thing. Okay, well let's see how she reacts to. Yeah, at this point, it's like she's trying to do the breathing thing, but also like actively like not looking at you. And then when it seems clear that you won't leave her alone until she does, she kind of does that like panicked, like if I kind of like squint and look away, you know, get my cheekbone in front of my eye, I can kind of only partially see. And she's like trying to give you a thumbs up while also like breathing. You get the sense that she's not actually calm, but she is desperate to make you think that she is. So you'll leave her the fuck alone.
I have a sense of that.
Sorry, we have a sense of that.
Okay.
We feel like she's kind of
Oh.
getting it, but not fully.
Okay.
Although I don't know, what does the thumbs up mean to Enzo? Is this like
Thumbs up.
I'm basically trying to figure out like where you are in the Chris Traeger from Parks and Recs like school of like everything is amazing. Like if you get a thumbs up, is that like okay, I'm good, I can leave now?
Thumbs up seems good. Yeah.
Okay, great. So
We'll give a
having-
thumbs up back and be like,
Okay, I'm gonna go now. You take care of yourself.
Mhm.
Okay. It was a nice to meet you. My name is Enzo.
And then she like goes and like pretends to check a phone. Like it's just like she doesn't know what else to do. We're so bad at avoiding people now that she just kind of like goes in a corner, and like kind of waves over her shoulder and then just kind of like looks away like she's at the end of the Blair Witch.
then I'll go back to the group having missed the entire like awful massacre.
Yeah.
The construction worker is in a safe place. What happened here?
I
Who's
think
there?
Sarge then like looks up and he's like, safer place or
Oh, no, we did not go up to the crow's nest. No. But that is where we should work our way towards, no?
But the sergeant, then killed a vampire that came to get us, and then crippled this one, and another ran away.
Oh, no.
No, it's very good. He did great. It's good for all of us. Our odds of survival are way better with him than we ever were on our own.
I am not taking all the credit for this one. If it wasn't for that spit thing that you did, we would not have gotten this far.
Oh, you spat on someone. Oh, you are very strong too.
Magic, turns out vampires and magic are real. Science is bullshit. I don't know anything anymore. But hey, I know a little bit.
You know far more than I do, and that's enough.
All right, then, here's a weird thought, but I sort of need to take a sip of this guy. And then he goes down, and he's going to try drinking from the vampire that is crippled on the ground.
I think Sarge is 100% going to grab him and be like, no, we don't eat people.
That's not a person, it's a vampire. She got to eat the construction worker. I just want to eat this scumbag who was going to kill us. And if I don't do it, I don't know if I can spit poison much anymore, and we're all going to die. I feel like this is pretty cut and clear ethically.
He's like, fuck you, don't drink my blood.
Yes, he's the worst.
I can't.
I have no idea, honestly.
What if everybody else just goes ahead for a minute and I hang back and we don't talk about it?
I don't care. And I just walk forward in the direction of the crow's nest.
Sarge, as reprehensible as this is to you, the poison on the hook was very helpful. And if you're going to assault a hard point, you might need some backup. This is your first major moral quandary, sir. I will. Okay, here's the bargain I'll offer you. You can resist the tactical advantage of more acid if you spend a willpower, or you can let Gaston sup so that you will have possible weapons moving forward.
I think at this point, he's probably like, I hate what I have to do, but war is ugly. So I'll deal with this later, but know that like I won't subside by this often. But I understand that the situation is abhorred at the time being. So we need every advantage we can get, because I did say that I would get him out alive, and I keep my sworn word. So,
and so as was true when you were on the battlefield, you do now what you did then, which is you don't look away as Gaston descends on his new meal.
So ends the first section of Court of the Boy King. There will be more to come at a future date, but we all know the best part of the hunger within us is the wait before the bite. Court of the Boy King is produced by the devilishly handsome Logan Peters in partnership with Dum Dums and Dice. If you want to produce your own show with us, you can do so at patreon.com/dumdumdice. This episode features Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter as Gaston, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter as Enzo, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter as Eleanor, and Logan Peters at Mr. Oogius Boogius on Twitter as Sergeant Jackson, as well as our storyteller Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hamstra, and our show logo was created by Del Borovic at Deltastic on Twitter. When it comes to Dum Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and our Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. And most importantly, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. All hail to the Boy King.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, Long Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters. Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez. Anna Zed, Eric Williams. Logan, Fire Unfriendly. Great Dane, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumbdumbdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.